Welcome children. Today once again we will discuss chapter number 15, that is improvement in food resources. In our previous session we studied about fish production, marine fisheries, inland fisheries, various varieties of marine fisheries, reservoirs of inland fisheries and composite fish culture, and we also discussed about some extra topics. Today in this session we will be discussing the last topic of this chapter, that is beekeeping or apiculture. In this session we will be covering beekeeping and its importance, advantages of beekeeping, local varieties of bees, apiaries and pasturage. Let us start with beekeeping. Beekeeping is also known as apiculture, and it is made up of two words, api plus culture. Api is a Latin word which means bee. So, a technique by which we culture bees and take various products of that bees is known as apiculture. Beekeeping is done to obtain honey and wax and various other substances. We all know that honey is used for its medicinal properties and for its nutritional properties. And honey is a very good source of energy. Wax is also used for medicinal properties and for making various types of polishes. Beekeeping is also helpful in cross-pollination of flowers. Beekeeping is the maintenance of honeybee colonies, commonly in hives, by humans. Since beekeeping needs low investments, farmers use it as an additional income generating activity. In addition to honey, the beehives are a source of wax which is used in various medicinal preparations. Honeybee varieties are of various types. There are certain varieties which are present in India and there are some exotic varieties too. The varieties of honeybee which are predominantly in India are called as indigenous varieties. These include Apis cerana indica, which is also known as Indian bee. The other variety of honeybee which is very commonly seen in our country is Apis dorsata, and it looks like rock, so it is also known as rock bee. And the third most common variety of honeybee is Apis florii. It is also known as little bee because its size is very small as compared to other types of bees. There are certain exotic varieties of honeybee too. Apis mellifera is an exotic variety which is also known as European or Italian bee. Apis adamsoni is also one of the exotic variety, and it is also known as South African bee. The bees collect nectar from flowers, and that nectar is converted into honey in the beehives. Bees are artificially grown in apiaries and the honey is extracted by machine which is called as honey extractor. Here children, in this slide you can see a honey extractor. Here this one is a honey extractor, and in this picture you can see beehive. This is a apiary and this is honey bee comb where so many small compartments are there. You can see it here, and here in this one you can see bees in apiaries. An Italian bee variety, Apis mellifera, has also been brought in to increase yield of honey. This is the variety which is commonly used for commercial honey production. The Italian bees have high honey collection capacity. They sting somewhat less. They stay in a given beehive for a longer period of time and breed very well. So their productivity is very, very good. For commercial honey production, bee farms or apiaries are established. A value or quality of honey depends upon the pasturage or the flowers which are available to the bees for nectar and pollen collection. In addition to adequate quantity of pasturage, the kind of flowers available will determine the taste of honey. So children, there is a very common question here, that what is bee pasturage? Plants that yield pollen and nectar are collectively called bee pasturage or bee forage. India, having a wide varieties of floral geography, and the bee pasturage also varies. So children, now there are some interesting facts about apiculture. The first very common fact is that in apiculture, or specifically in beehive, there are different size bees are there. Here in this slide you can see that here there is a queen bee, and relatively smaller in size there is one more bee which is known as drone, which is generally a male of bee. Its main function is to reproduce, and after reproduction it dies. And the third one is worker bee. It works day and night for beehive and for queen. So there is a kind of division of labor in bees, where you can see three types of categories: queen, which is comparatively very big in size, then drones, which are the males, and the worker bees, which are sterile bees. Then here you can see this structure in which generally the bees are grown in apiaries. Now let us discuss another interesting fact, that is bees products. Actually there are various types of products which we get from bees. Products of the beehive include bee wax, propolis, brood, venom, pollen, royal jelly, and of course honey. So here in this slide you can see various types of products of bees. Now let us discuss about something very interesting, that is bee venom. You all know that when bees bites you, you get pain. So what is that inside that bee which get transferred into your body and gives pain? That is a bee venom. And bee venom is used in medicine. Bee venom therapy is used by some as a treatment for rheumatism and joint diseases due to its anticoagulant and anti-inflammatory properties. There are certain other important products of bees, that is bee propolis and the bees wax. Children, now let us summarize what we have studied in this chapter. We will go through all important points one by one. So let us begin. There are 13 nutrients essential for crops. Of these, 6 are required in large quantities and are known as macronutrients, whereas 7 nutrients are required in small quantities, and these are known as micronutrients. Manure and fertilizers are the main source of nutrient supply to crops. Organic farming is a farming system with minimal or no use of chemicals as fertilizers, herbicides, pesticides, etc., and with a maximum input of organic manure, recycled farm waste, and bioagents with healthy cropping systems. Mixed farming is a system of farming on a particular farm which includes crop production, raising of livestock, etc. Growing of different crops on a piece of a land in pre-planned succession is called as crop rotation. Varietal improvement is required for higher yields. Good quality, biotic and abiotic resistance shortening the maturity duration, wider adaptability, and desirable agronomic characters. Farm animals require proper care and management such as shelter, feeding, breeding, and disease control, and this is called as animal husbandry. Poultry farming is done to raise domestic fowls, and poultry production includes egg production and broiler production for poultry meat. To enhance poultry production, crossbreeding is done between Indian and exotic breeds for variety improvement. Fish may be obtained from marine sources as well as inland sources. To increase production of fish, they can be cultured in marine and inland ecosystems. Marine fish capture is done by fishing nets guided by eco sounders and satellites. Composite fish culture system is commonly used for fish farming. Beekeeping is done to get honey and wax. Thank you, children.